Today, we're looking into something that's really exploded recently: mood and mental health supplements.
Yeah, it's a huge area. The growth is, well, it's quite something.
Definitely. I mean, the numbers show it outpaced the general supplement market last year significantly, and that trend looks set to continue.
Right. And it's interesting how manufacturers are using these ingredients now, isn't it? Not just in capsules anymore.
Exactly. You see them in functional foods, drinks, all sorts of things.
Hmm.
It reflects a bigger shift, I think.
A real focus on mental well-being, yeah. People are actively seeking solutions.
So let's zoom in on one specific ingredient that keeps popping up: 5-HTP.
Ah, yes, 5-hydroxytryptophan.
So for anyone listening who isn't familiar, it's basically a natural chemical our body makes. It comes from tryptophan, an essential amino acid.
Right. And the key thing, the reason it's relevant here, is that it's a direct precursor to serotonin.
Serotonin, okay, the feel-good chemical.
Mm-hmm.
Or is that too simple?
Well, it's involved in feeling good, yes, but it's much broader than that. Serotonin is crucial for regulating, attention, behavior, overall mood. It's a major player in the brain.
So the thinking behind 5-HTP supplements is provide more building blocks, potentially boost serotonin.
Exactly. More 5-HTP could lead to more serotonin, which in theory positively impacts mental well-being. Simple idea, but potentially powerful.
Now, there are other things out there people use, like St. John's wort, for example.
True. But 5-HTP has its own unique position, partly because of this direct pathway to serotonin. It's seen as a valuable tool.
So for this deep dive, we want to go beyond just mood, right? Explore the whole picture for 5-HTP.
Absolutely, because if it's influencing serotonin, and serotonin does so much,
Sure.
what else might it be doing? That's the interesting question.
Okay, let's tackle the main area first then, mood enhancement. We've said it's about serotonin.
Yeah, and that link to regulating attention, behavior, our emotional state, it's fundamental.
And there is research backing this up.
There is some promising preliminary stuff, though often in smaller trials, suggesting 5-HTP could help with symptoms of depression.
I also saw something about a clinical trial, one comparing it to prescription antidepressants.
Yes, that was a significant finding. It suggested that for mild to moderate depression, 5-HTP showed effectiveness comparable to certain SSRIs in that specific study.
Comparable effectiveness.
It is noteworthy, yeah. But important to stress, context matters, specific study conditions.
Of course. And what about using it with antidepressants for harder to treat cases?
Uh-huh. There's research on that too. One study looked at treatment-resistant depression and found that adding 5-HTP seemed to have a positive impact. It might kind of boost the effect of the standard medication for some people.
Interesting. So it's not just depression, though. Anxiety seems relevant, too.
Definitely. Evidence suggests it might help manage anxiety symptoms. One study showed it reduced moderate anxiety.
And panic disorder.
There's another study pointing that way, yeah. It seemed to decrease panic symptoms, both how often they happened and how severe they were.
So it really does seem to touch on various aspects of mental well-being: mood, anxiety, panic.
It appears quite multifaceted in that regard, yes.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Sleep. Huge issue for so many people. How does 5-HTP fit in there?
Well, again, it comes back to serotonin, but indirectly this time.
How so?
Serotonin is actually the precursor to melatonin.
Melatonin, the sleep hormone. Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly. Melatonin is what primarily regulates your sleep-wake cycle, tells your body when it's time to wind down.
So if you take 5-HTP during the day, you make more serotonin.
And then as evening comes, your body can use that extra serotonin to produce more melatonin.
Potentially leading to better sleep. Easier time falling asleep, maybe.
That's the idea, and there's some evidence to support it. A controlled study on poor sleepers found they reported better sleep quality with 5-HTP. Felt more rested.
And I think I saw something about combining it with other things, like GABA.
Yes. That's a really interesting area. GABA is another neurotransmitter involved in calming the nervous system.
So putting 5-HTP and GABA together.
One study found that this combination helped people with sleep disorders. They fell asleep faster, slept longer, and reported better quality sleep overall.
That sounds like a potent mix. Synergy in action.
It really does highlight the potential for smart combinations and formulations. But, the story doesn't stop at mood and sleep.
Right, because serotonin is involved elsewhere in the body, too.
A surprising number of places, actually, which opens the door to other potential health benefits from 5-HTP.
Okay, like what else are we talking about?
Well, one area that's garnered some attention is appetite suppression.
Appetite. How does that work?
Research In one study with female participants, found that taking 5-HTP for about 4 weeks led to increased feelings of satiety, feeling fuller after eating.
Okay, and that led to...
It led to them eating less overall, and they actually saw a reduction in their BMI, their body mass index.
So a potential tool for weight management support.
Potentially, yes, by influencing those feelings of fullness.
Interesting. What else? I saw mention of pain relief, fibromyalgia.
Yes. For conditions like fibromyalgia, where you have widespread muscle pain, fatigue, it's thought that boosting serotonin might help modulate how the nervous system processes pain signals.
So potentially reducing some of those symptoms.
That's the hypothesis based on serotonin's role in pain pathways.
And the last one I saw mentioned was migraines.
Migraines are sometimes linked to lower serotonin levels.
So if 5-HTP boosts serotonin.
It might help prevent migraines from occurring in the first place for some individuals. It acts as a potential preventative strategy.
Wow. Okay, so mood, sleep, appetite, pain, migraines. That's quite a range.
It really shows how interconnected things are and how influential serotonin is throughout the body.
Absolutely. So let's pivot now to the market. Why does all this matter for, say, supplement companies or the health industry?
Well, the demand is clearly there, isn't it? We started by saying the mood and mental health category is booming.
Right. Huge growth.
And alongside that, you have this massive ongoing need for sleep solutions. So many people are struggling with sleep.
True. Bad sleep seems almost epidemic sometimes.
And 5-HTP kind of sits at the intersection of those demands. Plus, it taps into another major trend,
Ouchies.
the preference for natural products. Consumers are increasingly looking for natural supplements over synthetic options.
And 5-HTP fits that bill.
It does. The vast majority of it isn't made in a lab. It's extracted from the seeds of a plant, Graphonia simplicifolia.
Graphonia,
Right.
simplicifolia, okay, native to Africa.
West and Central Africa, yeah. That natural origin story is a big plus for many people. You just need to look at the market size for natural
It's
supplements.
huge, right?
Billions. Over $58 billion globally this year estimated, and projected to hit nearly $122 billion by 2034. That's significant growth, about 7.6% compound annual growth rate.
So natural, addresses mood, addresses sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a prime ingredient right now.
It really does. For a manufacturer, it offers several potential advantages in a crowded market.
Like what? How does it help a product stand out?
Well, first, just aligning with that huge consumer focus on mental health is key. Offering an effective natural solution like 5-HTP is already a strong position.
And you mentioned efficacy. Does it work faster than some other natural options?
Its direct role in serotonin production means the effects might be felt relatively quickly compared to, say, St. John's wort or SAM-E, which work differently. That can be a selling point. Its natural origin combined with potentially faster action is quite appealing.
And we just spent a lot of time talking about its multiple benefits. That must be an advantage too.
Absolutely. Unlike a supplement targeting just one thing, 5-HTP's potential impact on mood, sleep, maybe even appetite,
Yeah.
that appeals to a much broader audience.
Like a more holistic solution in one ingredient.
Precisely. People might see it as covering more bases, offering better value, perhaps.
And you also touched on combining it with other ingredients, like GABA for sleep.
Exactly. There's huge potential for innovation there. Combining 5-HTP with things like magnesium or L-theanine for stress and sleep,
Yeah.
you can create really targeted, synergistic formulas.
New product development opportunities.
Big time. It allows brands to differentiate themselves even further.
So, bottom line, including 5-HTP seems like a smart strategic move for brands in this space.
I'd say so. It adds tangible value, aligns with major trends, and it can really help position a brand as a provider of effective natural health solutions.
Which builds trust, loyalty, all that good stuff.
Exactly. In the nutraceutical world, it's a compelling ingredient right now.
Well, this has been really insightful. It's clear 5-HTP is much more than just a mood supplement.
Its versatility is quite striking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mood, sleep, and these other potential areas. It touches a lot of key health concerns.
And putting it in your product line seems less like an option and more like a strategic necessity, perhaps, given the market direction.
It's certainly a strong move to meet consumer demand for holistic, natural approaches and to really stand out.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Given how serotonin connects mood, sleep, appetite, maybe even pain.
Yeah.
What else might be linked? As research continues on 5-HTP, what other, maybe unexpected synergistic benefits could still emerge?
That's the exciting part, isn't it? There's likely still more to uncover about its full potential. Definitely an area to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. Thanks for exploring this with us today on the Deep Dive.